Somebody else who knows the impact of gun violence is former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. And at the National Gun Violence Memorial yesterday, she made it very clear, in order to end this epidemic, she must have courage.
Stopping gun violence takes courage. The courage to do what's right, the courage to new ideas. I've seen great courage when my life was on the line. Now is the time to come together, be responsible. Democrats, Republicans, everyone. We must never stop fighting. Fight, fight, fight. Be bold, be courageous. The nation's counting on you.
It was during a 2012 campaign rally that Giffords was shot in an assassination attempt, suffering severe brain injury, changing her life forever. I'm joined now by Lloyd, the managing director of the Giffords Law Center in Washington, D.C., an organization dedicated to saving lives from gun violence. Robin, great to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Kara.
And by the way, just seeing Gabby Giffords yesterday, wow, she has come a long way just with therapy and being able to speak that the way she does now. There was a time where she barely could. You must be incredibly proud of just how far she's come.
Absolutely. Gabby works really hard every single day, but it really is a testament to her strength and her perseverance that she's able to move forward, and that's what she wants us to do on the issue of gun violence.
And she called for bipartisan support yesterday and asked that the entire country comes together and galvanizes. As she spoke and as you are helping her push things forward, what's your #1 priority at this moment?
Saving lives. We know that the House is going to pass very strong bills this week, today and tomorrow. That's extremely exciting. But they face an uphill challenge in the Senate. And we need the senators to come together, led by Senator Murphy, to do something to save lives. And we're cautiously optimistic that that can happen. But we know that it won't be what the House is going to pass, because obviously the margins are different in the Senate. But doing something, even if it's incremental, is tremendously important. And even if it's incremental, it does not mean that it's toothless. It does not mean that it's not going to have an impact. So doing something to have an impact to save lives is extremely important. And the policies that you just showed on the screen are some of the conversations that are taking place right now.
Now, Robin, in 2019, for the first time in 20 years, you helped pass major bipartisan gun safety legislation in Congress. How did you do it?
Listen, the movement has changed considerably in the past 10 years. Organizations like ours exist. We have tremendous policy expertise. We have organized advocates, gun owners, moms, parents, students, young people all across the country are engaged on the issue of gun safety in a way that we did not have 10 years ago. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Every person that gets engaged, every person that calls their senator this week to tell them that they want to see action on gun safety is part of the solution. And what we did in the recent years is just building on what we can do today.
Okay, so as you named all of those that galvanized, came together and helped you, you know, we've heard some gut-wrenching testimony already today. You saw little Mia describing how she covered herself in her classmates' blood, faking her death to save her life. I mean, she's 11 years old. You know, does that kind of testimony get legislation passed quicker? Do you think the impact of that will make this move faster?
I don't know anybody that could hear that testimony and not be moved by it. That is a tremendously brave young person to come and to share her story. But it is very disturbing that that is what happened in our country. So I really think that it's the fact that people like the survivors of Uvalde and Buffalo are speaking out today, that their stories are being heard, that Americans, that legislators are hearing those stories. That is absolutely part of the change that we need to see happen. So I do think it is going to have an impact, and I think it's a tremendously important part of what we're doing here on this issue.
So mental health record reporting, you've done a lot of research on this. You've done a lot of work on this. How do we change that? And what impact could that have if we could do a better job of that? And could that have prevented this shooting at Uvalde? There were so many red flags when it came to mental health with this shooter.
So I would say not even thinking about one individual shooting, but just thinking about what are the gaps in our laws that enable people to get access to firearms. The background check system is incredibly important, but we have gaps in our laws that make it far too easy for people to avoid the background check system altogether. So closing those gaps is tremendously important. The background check system is also only as good as the records that are in it. So if states aren't reporting records, if the federal government is not reporting records, that's a big problem and a big loophole. So we need to do more to address that as well. And then the types of records that could be included, or the types of things that folks could look at when we're talking about somebody who may be a danger to themselves or others. And that's one of the proposals that's actively being considered regarding red flag laws. That is an absolutely key component of keeping people safe. So that should also be looked at. But it's not just one thing that should happen. It is many things, because unfortunately, our current system is a patchwork of gun laws in this country. And so we need to do a lot to close those loopholes and make our communities safer.
So this idea of banning assault rifles, you know, President Biden and some other lawmakers like West Virginia's Senator Joe Manchin, has actually said they're open to that idea. But give us a reality check here. I mean, the gun lobby has tremendous influence. We know that. Money, power, politics. You know, would this really ever happen?
Never say never. I mean, we've come a long way in a short amount of time, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I think the reality is that is not a policy that's on the table right now in the conversations in the U.S. Senate. There's not a path forward on 60 votes at this moment, but that does not mean that there won't be a path forward on that policy at some other point in the future. So it is really important that we work together where we can on the policies that we can achieve today that will have an impact and will save lives, and keep building towards something more comprehensive down the road. But that policy is not on the table right now.
Robin Lloyd, Managing Director of the Giffords Law Center. Give our best, please, to Gabby, and so glad to have you on. And I know you've been rolling with us throughout the day. So glad we had this conversation. Thanks again, Robin.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.